going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about the truth behind the spork knife and debunking / myth busting some of the steps involved. So a big shout out to everyone in the zombies community who's been involved in this hunt and myth busting some of these steps with us. So starting off with number 1, we have the 100 melee kills next to the tub in the new industries using the golden spork. So ever since the quest was leaked to us by the infamous QA tester Call of Nobody Cares, we've all been trying those 100 melee kills next to the tub until it was finally patched back in to when once you got those 100 kills, the water in the tub would turn crimson red, you get a sound indication, and you can then place your golden spork in the hand that rises up from the bottom of the tub. So ever since then, that's the actual strategy we've worked with, because we all know, obviously, QA testers don't test a finished product. They always test things that can easily be modified later or slightly altered. That's apparent, but we just didn't know that when it came to these 100 kills. So apparently, as some people are claiming, you don't actually need to get those 100 kills by the new industries tub. You can be anywhere around the map as long as you have the Hell's Redeemer. That's a soft lock on this Easter egg, and as long as you have the golden spork when you get these melee kills, then you'll still get the water to turn crimson red, you'll still get the sound indication, and you can still place your golden spork in the hand that rises up from the tub. Great to know, but for those of you who are a little confused on how we kind of misinterpreted this step, obviously when we started hunting this and we finally found out that the actual quest was added back in, we weren't going to go ahead and myth bust how you can get these kills and where you have to be. We just wanted to solve the quest and figure out everything that was involved in it. So it's very clear that once a quest is fully solved, that's when people go in later and myth bust the steps and try to do them in different ways. And that's how it's always been with Easter eggs. So there's nothing wrong with someone going in later after the quest is solved and providing us with an alternative way to do something, or myth busting something that we thought was a fact. That was all we knew at the time, from the QA tester leaking it to us testing it in game. All we knew is that you needed those 100 melee kills with the golden spork, and everybody was doing it by the tub, so we had no reason to believe there was an alternative way to do it. I am glad that somebody found this, because it makes it easier for the casual players to go in who may be interested in getting the spork knife on Blood of the Dead. But at the time when the quest was in the process of being solved, none of us even put a thought into trying to get those 100 kills elsewhere. But I am glad that this was confirmed. This is probably something I would have thought about later down the line, but definitely not something that anybody was considering when they're trying to find the final step for the spork knife. But the second thing I want to talk about involves the gems and the trap kills. So this is a very unfortunate glitch that can only occur in co-op games, so you solo players have nothing to worry about here. But if you were to get those 3 stones and place them at the designated traps, and then get a couple of trap kills at, let's say, the fan trap or the acid trap, and then you were to go down and completely bleed out, for some reason that breaks the quest for you in game. Bleeding out does not allow you to then respawn in and finish the actual quest for the spork knife. So for some weird reason, you'll spawn back in during the next round, or maybe you spawn back in by a friend of yours using join the party, doesn't matter how. You'll spawn back in and you'll notice that the stones are no longer there, but the gems are. And if the gems are there, that indicates that you got those trap kills, but you really didn't. So you can't pick up the gems and you can't get any more trap kills at those spots. So you've essentially put yourself out of luck, and you no longer can acquire the spork knife in that game. You'll be forced to restart, which really sucks. So I was just warning you guys about that, because this actually really relates to the final step in obtaining the spork knife, which I was actually going to make a video about and had to put the video in the trash because the spork knife ended up being solved just an hour after I put the video up on YouTube. So here's what happened. We were all in a game, in a co-op game that is, and we all had the golden scalpel. We put the scalpel back in the tub, and we of course noticed the dark matter knife etched into the sign here on the catwalk. And with the knife was Sal's prison number. Well, what had happened was a buddy of mine named Pluto accidentally went down, completely bled out, and when he spawned in during the next round, he noticed that Sal's prison number was no longer on the knife. So we're like, what the hell did he do? Did he do something? You know, did he trigger something? We didn't know what had happened, so he went in theater mode and in slow motion saw that right as he bled out, Sal's prison number fell from the knife and went onto the ground. And we're like, what the fuck? He didn't do anything different in that game. He didn't know what he triggered. But reading the sign itself and how it talks about killing yourself, we thought maybe you do have to go down and completely bleed out in a co-op game to trigger the next step. It may sound silly and it's obviously impossible in a solo game, so maybe it was a co-op only Easter egg, but we're like, wait, that means on solo you can get the golden scalpel, you can place it back in the tub, but then you can't get the spork knife? It just didn't make sense, and as we kept talking about it, we knew that it wouldn't have made sense for you to have to kill yourself in game to make this work, unless on solo the rules are different and you can just down yourself and then self-revive to get back up and cause Sal's prison number to fall off the knife. That's the only way it would have worked if that was the case. But I was literally in the process of making the video go public because I was adjusting the tags and the cards and everything to do with the actual YouTube video when all of a sudden the Absolem guy over on Reddit finished the final steps. And when I watched his video, the final step did involve making Sal's number fall off of the knife, but it was actually done with a different method. And that method is obviously killing Brutus right next to the knife, causing Sal's prison number to fall, indicating that you are done and can now go and acquire the spork knife. But what was funny to me was that this glitch with bleeding out and making Sal's number fall is the same type of situation that we have when you bleed out and you cause the gems to glitch out. Because as you know, when you have your stones placed down and before you get those trap kills, if you were to bleed out and then come back, you notice that those stones are no longer there, but the gems are. So bleeding out for whatever reason gives you a hint and shows you the next step, but it's a visual glitch. It's not supposed to show you that. So when you bleed out by the dark matter knife or anywhere around the map and you come back and look, you'll notice that the actual prison number is no longer there. It's showing you as a visual glitch what the next step is, but it's showing you at the wrong time before you've triggered it, so it breaks the quest in game. Which is really funny because for some reason, bleeding out completely breaks the quest in game and shows you insight on what the next step is gonna involve. So imagine somebody placing those 3 stones down at their designated traps and then bleeding out to then later come back and look at those stones being replaced by gems. They'd be so confused, they'd be like, what the fuck, what did I do to trigger this? How did these gems get here instead? They just wouldn't know what they did, and it throws everybody off. And it's the same situation with the video I literally had completed. It was a 6-minute video talking about how somehow bleeding out caused Sal's prison number to fall from the knife and onto the ground. And when I was making that video, I definitely thought about it. I'm like, you know what if it's the same scenario here where bleeding out is showing us what's going to be seen in this location next, but that's not actually the trigger behind getting that animation. And once again, we knew that because there was an animation for Sal's prison number to fall from the knife and onto the ground, we knew that's what we were going to see next in the next step, but we didn't know if bleeding out was the trigger or not. And after Absolem solved the last step and he posted a video on it, we saw that yes, killing Brutus by the dark matter knife is what causes Sal's prison number to fall. And it's the same situation with those rocks and gems. Once you have those stones down, if you were to bleed out, it would show you the gems as if you've completed the step, but you really didn't. That's why you can't pick them up and proceed with the quest. That would be cheating and that would break the game even more. So this leads into the final step here. After Absolem posted his complete guide over on Reddit, he said that you had to get acid gat kills in the showers by the washing machine until you heard a certain trigger sound. And that made perfect sense. It was a really good callback to Mob of the Dead and how you originally obtained the golden spork on that map. So I didn't even question the situation there with getting those kills. I didn't even question the ethics behind getting those acid gat kills. Yes, the acid gat is complete trash in this Easter egg and it's completely useless, but it made sense that now they were giving the acid gat some purpose. So we all went ahead, tested this in game, and then made our guides on it. Right when he posted that guide, I jumped right in game with my buddy Pluto and we tested this, and it worked exactly as he showed in the video. So we didn't even question those acid gat kills until we found out later that the washing machine does make noise because it is linked to another music Easter egg that I had no idea about. So apparently, if you shoot the washing machine, I think with the acid gat or any other weapon, you'd make it actually provide some feedback to you, and it would make some rumbling noise, and it would then trigger some music to play. I've definitely heard that music before, but I figured it made sense that you had to trigger that before being able to kill Brutus, causing Sal's prison number to fall on the catwalk, which would then allow you to pick up the spork knife. Little did we know, after everybody posted their guides, after everybody put up their spork knife tutorials, it was discovered that you don't have to get those acid gat kills at all, and the truth is, we were all one step away from actually getting the spork knife. All you have to do is put the golden scalpel back in the tub, and then kill Brutus by the dark matter knife, causing Sal's prison number to fall and allowing you to then pick up the spork knife from the tub in New Industries. It was that simple. We were all literally one step away from being completed, but instead, everybody posted their golden scalpel guides last weekend, and it was a week before we figured out what the last step actually was. It's an honest misunderstanding. Everybody obviously got their guides out as fast as possible to make sure the YouTube algorithm was on their side. It's perfectly fine. It all makes sense. The ethics involved are completely neutral. Everybody knows what really went on, and that was it. You know, in terms of our guides being technically wrong, all you have to do is skip out on the acid gat part. Watch everybody's guide normally and just make sure you ignore the part that involves the acid gat. For me to go in and edit that part out of the video while it's live would make it seem like shit. So it's either worth a re-upload or just explaining it in a separate video, which I'm perfectly fine with doing. So in terms of those golden spork melee kills as well, you can watch everybody's guide, you can get those kills by the tub, and it changes nothing. Or you can do something different, be unique, get those kills elsewhere if it makes it easier for you, and you can still do the quest normally. You can do that as well. So that's some clarification on the spork knife and how you do everything. The misunderstandings are perfectly acceptable. It makes sense. It's a complicated Easter egg. It's a quest that was added in post-launch, months later, after previously being leaked. And obviously in the original leaks, the QA tester had said that you can find some gems at the D block in the rafters, you can find one in Citadel. Obviously the gem locations were changed when the quest was added in to avoid the whole quest being spoiled by a QA tester. So that makes perfect sense as to why Treyarch changed some of these steps. And I believe originally, after you got the golden scalpel, all you had to do was put it back in the tub so that the hand can then mix the golden spork and the golden scalpel to give you the spork knife. Treyarch decided to add in one tiny little step, which involves a throwback to Sal's laundry ticket over on the catwalk with Sal's prison number, so that you can kill Brutus as a throwback to Mob of the Dead and a throwback to the Weasel and Sal and all that shit, so that you can then go and pick up the spork knife. But this has been dkdynamite. Check all links down below in the description. I hope this cleared up the entire story behind how you get the spork knife. Nobody was questioning these steps when we were in the process of hunting the final and finished product, which is the spork knife, and it makes sense as to why people went in after the quest was completed to sort of alter and myth bust how you can actually acquire the spork knife itself. But be on the lookout for more Black Ops 4 gameplay, news, and coverage, and peace out, everybody.